716 Radio, blazing the trails of R&B,
And I feel like sometimes
hip hop, Afrobeat,
If you want make a ginger, give me kokoro.
and inspiration.
We got to go way up.
Fire 716 Radio, playing the best in urban and inspirational music.
You're locked into the vault with Donta Myles on fire. 716 Radio.
Listen here. We are back with a couple of weeks of craziness. You know, I've been dealing with last week I got hit with the young COVID, and it was a little rough, but you know, your boy made it through. What doesn't kill you only make you stronger, and what makes you stronger makes you last a lot longer. Miss Price, how you doing? Miss Pello, Beth, how y'all doing today? So, listen, I have a hot topic today. First and foremost, before I go into it, I want to make sure that we handle business. Y'all go to Fire 716 Radio. And thank you much, Lori. Go to Fire 716 Radio and download the app and check it out. You know what I mean? Whenever you get a chance, man. I mean, they be having great content, good music at the same token, you know, a nice variety of music. But yeah, it's a good place of integrity. I love the space. So y'all go check it out. I don't know why I'm up here not doing what I'm supposed to do. Okay, that's better. So, with that being said, I guess this is brought to you by Chapstick on today. So define a healthy relationship. And one thing that I sat back, because I sat with this for a while myself. You know, me being in different types of relationships. I've dated. I've been married. I've been engaged. And I have been and is currently single. You know what I mean? So there's a variety of personal experience. But is that
Fire 716 Radio. First begin. Yeah, hold on, Michael. Hold on. We got to call it.
Oh, that's nice and quick.
Comment.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so my comment is that relationship, first of all, a healthy relationship should be 100-100.
Uh-huh.
Not 50-50.
That's right.
If we both put everything into the relationship, that's what makes it better.
That's the truth, brother. Because I always say 50-50 leave you with 50% lingering around on each side.
I don't know if you agree with that.
No, that's what I'm saying. I get it. I agree with you. If you do 50-50, each person still got a whole extra 50% that's just lingering around. So when it comes down to the relationship, absolutely, we definitely need to be 100 all in. You know what I'm saying? All chips in.
And if we want to be real, let's put a third party in there, 100. Because when you got God in the center, that makes it even better.
Come on, you better preach, good brother.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you for calling in, good bro. Appreciate it, man.
Sir.
All right, yeah, that's my man Mike. Yes, Micah. So yeah, you know, everyone's definition of a healthy relationship, it pretty much it's all depending on who you're speaking to, because everybody have different walks. So I'm not gonna say, because what may be healthy for one may someone else may feel different. You know what I mean? But I like to have these open dialogues because I think it makes sense to have as to, what is the consensus of a healthy relationship. So I'll start with one. I think the biggest let's say key to a healthy relationship is communication. And communication, to me, it spreads out into so many different different variables. It has like the octopus reach, because just talking, period. Because sometimes people have a issue with really just like casually expressing themselves. You know what I mean? So but along with communication, there's this thing we could call love language. And it's almost like teaching someone how to communicate with you.
Yeah.
How to know what my love language is. You know what I'm saying? Some people, their love language is different, right? So one person might like words of affirmation. Some people like the touch. Some people like it's just so many different. So my thing is, and then also when it comes down to communication, it falls into the same level of expectations.
Valid. I think too, it's important to know your own love language.
That's right.
Like, how do you expect affection? How do you? Because sometimes the problem is that you don't even know your own love language, so you are here trying to take your affection and you really want stuff.
Right.
So that's important as well, but valid.
And so, and with that being said, and when you come into a relationship without knowing what you expect, or without expressing what it is that you expect out of a relationship, then you kind of leave that up. You're going to continuously find yourself being disappointed every single time. You feel what I'm saying? Like, when it comes down to, like, if you get in a relationship and you don't tell the person, listen, this is what I expect. Like when it comes down to this, like, here's my non-negotiables. Here's the things that, like, here's the deal breakers, so that right off the rip. And if that person is like, yeah, I ain't gonna be able to handle that, then you'll know, okay, well, hey, we can go our separate ways, or we can remain friends, but we may not have to take it to that next level. Then there's your giveaways. There's the, hey, this, like, what they're asking, it's not something that's that deep to me that I gotta go hard. You can have that.
Yeah.
That's a giveaway.
Yeah.
We ain't even gotta, okay, yeah. And then there's that happy compromise that's in the middle. You know what I'm saying? Now, it's not the non-negotiable, but I can't quite get that away. We're gonna have to meet somewhere in the middle with this. But you'll never know what any one of those is until you express that, until you have that conversation.
No, for sure. No, for sure. Because because those are where the friction comes in at,
right?
And where sacrifice comes in at, and being willing to readjust or finding that place,
right?
Like, no, this is my little standard here,
right?
And this is what I need to happen, and then it'll show you the value of the person that you're talking to. You got to find that place, and that'd be the that'd be the place.
That's the right. And listen, when I tell you it's work, because the crazy part is this. Sometimes you think it is, you don't even know yourself. Like, you find out stuff about yourself decades later that you didn't quite know that was in you prior to. You know what I mean? We are who we are until a situation arises that causes us to be something that we never knew that we could ever be. So if you don't completely know yourself, what make you think you will be able to know your significant other completely when they don't know themselves?
Yeah.
So, y'all chime in. How you doing, Terry? I see you. Jeff, Mr. Rivers, we got to get you back up on here. Thank you, Miss Price. Thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate the love, Nikki. How y'all doing? I just want to make sure that I shout out everybody on here. Now, listen, this is a very interactive Miss Doucette, how you doing there? Miss Pittman, Big E, I see you on here. Listen, excuse me, just a lingering cough. Miss Ligamari, what's going on? So, so yeah, that's a big thing right now. Is really trying to you know, express your expectations.
Mhm.
You know, and that's all a part of communication. It's all a part, like it's a huge part of communication. Understanding that, and I won't put everybody in a box, and I won't, like, I'm not gonna stereotype anybody, but in many cases, men and women, our level of communication in a healthy relationship kind of it's pretty much almost the same. Like, men want more so respect.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, of course, we all have feelings, so we all want to be loved. But in most cases, men want to just be, hey, respect who I am as a man.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? Not that I'm over you but what it is, it's a level of respect where females or women, in many cases, want that love, that protection, that affection.
Yeah.
And so it's about, how do you learn? And you just have to, and what happens is, in communication, we teach people how to love us. And that's okay. Because what happened, people want to come in like they Superman and act like, yo, I know what this is about. Let me and I'm gonna fix and I'm gonna set everything straight. And it's like, no, we're all students when it comes down. And that's the thing that we all have to really address, is being okay with being a student. Because you got to put your pride, check your pride at the door.
We are different. We're not raised the same.
Right.
We're not brought up the same.
Different house. Right.
They're two different houses. You got to find out who I am. Just as, if I'm in discovery, it's a challenge already, but also to express to you, no, this is what I saw growing up. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. You don't know my triggers. You don't know my,
right.
It's really something that you have to learn. And even as a husband,
right.
learning that, it was, what we dated was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now we fiance, we cool, but now we together in the same house, and realizing that,
right.
Oh, this is different.
This is a different situation. That dating, the dating in comparison to, I tell you what, dating in comparison to marriage is kind of like, and I'm only gonna shoot this in here because I do talk a little bit about politics, but the difference between campaigning and governing.
Mm-hmm.
Campaigning, you out here in these streets, you knocking doors, you putting your platform out, blah, so on and so forth. You get up in there, and you have the level of expectation from the community. You have the level of expectation from your,
that's good. You just set this tone.
You know what I'm saying? And there's your colleagues. What's going on, Mr. Gandy? Wendy, she put submission is key. Definitely. Guess what? There's submission on both ends, because I think we have had this kind of warped idea of just, women submitting to men or so on and so forth. But there are so many different levels of submission. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, when I'm protecting my family, you know what I'm saying? When I'm submitting to the cause of the structure of my house and the structure of the home, our home. And I try not to use my so much, you know what I mean? Because it's really a we, us, and ours. And so there's just levels of submission. It's like, what happens is, and I think what got the twisted portion of submission is when you use submission as a way of manipulation.
Yeah. So now let me give you all the part 2 to that scripture.
Right. Please. Thank you.
Because it says a part that says husbands are to love their wives like Christ loved the church. And then it talks about wives, submit yourselves to your husbands, but you understand what it means to die for your household, to be the sacrifice for your household, to go above and beyond the call of duty for your household.
Right.
So when you talk about that submission, I'm submitted to this family plan, idea, and agenda to execute, to make sure you're good, to cover, to protect, to provide, to be there, protect, to provide. We call them all these names. That's my responsibility here.
Absolutely.
So I'm not here to use you, to make you feel less than, to devalue you, or any of those things. And like you said, when you use it to manipulate, you stepped out in error.
Right.
But when you use it in its proper context, it's like, no, you understand that we give and we take.
Right.
It's a constant exchange. Somebody told me that it ain't 50-50.
Right.
It's not ever really balanced. Balance is not, we stay right here. It's an ever moving scale.
Right. Right.
Some days it hits, some days it don't, but we're moving. So.
And I seen this video, and it really resonated with me. I kept it with me. I made it a part of my daily bread. I made it a part of just period and forward movement period. Is that I'm all about the multiplication. So 1 + 1 is what? I mean, no, not 1 + 1. 2 + 2 is what? 4. 2 times 2 is what? 4. Thing about it is when you're starting in a relationship, are you dealing with addition, or are you being fruitful and multiplying in every portion of that relationship? And being fruitful and multiplying doesn't necessarily mean just children, as far as I'm concerned. Valid. It's being fruitful in who you are as a person, what you provide to this earth. And so, with that being said, so in the beginning of the relationship, everything looks the same.
Right.
Now you have two different dynamics. You have 2 + 2 = 4, and you have 2 times 2 = 4.
Right.
But if your mentality is in the multiplication, and we're actually trying to build in that realm, then when you add 2 times 3, versus 2 + 3, 2 + 3 is 5. That 2 times 3, you add 6. So what happens at whatever you do, it builds, and it just adds a little bit more when you know what I mean, mentally and emotionally, when you're thinking, yo, we're here to build and multiply. So that was just kind of like a little nugget that I kind of put out there for everybody. But understanding that, making sure that we express everything. I always say that: talk big, argue small. You're gonna argue. What relationship doesn't have a disagreement or argument? Right. And then for those people who think that, oh, me and my boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever, we will never argue. Well, then God, man, keep living, because the problem is that once you have that first one, it's one of those, we're creatures of repetition. And so until you have had that disagreement, you want to have some small disagreements to the point where you learn how to practice conflict resolution. That makes sense. So there's that. Let's see here.
I want to say good morning to friend Annie, who's online. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, I don't see that side. Hey.
So it's good. I got you.
Good to see you. Thank you very much. Ricky said next week's message: opening of a new dating tabernacle. Stay tuned. Okay, so here's the next portion of this conversation. So for me, and I want y'all to chime in, because I'm here paying attention. Thank you. Wendy said, love it, brother. So expectations, communication, that's heavy to me. Now, it might not be yours, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I'm the, definitely not the relationship guru, but it's just one of those things that, is every situation you have in your life is wrapped with a lesson.
Yeah. And
every unlearned lesson is bound to be repeated. So my thing is that, these are lessons that I've learned personally. Understanding communication, understanding the love language of your significant other, and teaching each other how to love you, teaching each other how to communicate with each other. Some people need you to sit them and stare them square in the face and be like, listen, because some people are like already very attentive, so you don't have to be as aggressive in tone or whatever the case is. It's just understanding what that language is. 2, here's a big one. I might probably end up staying on this one for the rest of this show. Unhealed trauma going into a relationship. That is probably one of the biggest relationship killers. Unpacked trauma. Trauma that we have not unpacked healthily.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm a firm believer. How you doing there, Jennifer? I'm a firm believer of therapy. When you go through some things, and a lot of times culture has, I'm not messing with you, Colin. Culture has made us feel that we had to hold and suppress everything. And yeah, that's right, Auntie, unpack baggage. And man up. Don't say nothing. Can't talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, your feelings hurt. Man up. And so you hold a lot of things and you haven't really given yourself the opportunity to digest the trauma that you may have been through. One. Two, you haven't really given yourself the opportunity to possibly forgive the person, whether Ty said, I'm explaining Niagara Falls politics without even saying it. Hey, Mom, we love you too. Strongholds, absolutely, Wendy. Belinda, good morning. So what happens is when you come into these type of relationships and you have baggage and you haven't allowed yourself to forgive the person that may have, whether it was offense, you haven't allowed yourself to forgive yourself. Understanding that, because there are things that we may have all done that had to play a role in maybe our own trauma.
No, true.
So, but we have to learn how to forgive ourselves as well as the person in order to be free, because you find yourself going back into another relationship with triggers, with thoughts, with guards, unnecessary guards up, with ammunition that came from your previous relationship.
Right.
You got a box of ammo. What's going on, Crystal? You got a box of ammunition. That you've carried with you. You got your ammo bag. And you wondering, somebody come and you interested in somebody, but they're looking at you like, why are you so suited up? Calm down. What's up? And you find yourself like always on a, you know what I'm saying? Something, one little thing happened, I'm ready to jump off. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me. Told you a little lingering cough, but good. And so unhealed trauma. It's okay to get therapy.
Good morning, Rob Brown.
What's going on? So it's okay. It's okay to get therapy when you go through that type of stuff, because it's healthy. It's healthy for you to, one, you need to know who you can bleed in front of and that kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? In that kind of situation, you got to know who you're able to bleed in front of, because you can't bleed in front of everybody.
You cannot. And I personally encourage individuals to go to therapy, because they're designed to handle the blood. They're designed to handle and unlock those things. They're designed to handle that, and they don't play a major role in your day-to-day living.
Right.
The problem is that we bleed into people who we got to deal with every day. So now that you're out of, you say you recovered and you're better and you're in it, they still basing your conversation based off where you were at.
Right.
But you haven't seen the evidence of evolving or coming out or doing better you still got me in the holding pattern that I'm trying to get out of.
Right,
Those things are very important. But culturally, we don't push.
Right. No, absolutely. What's going on, Big Mike? So yeah, and it's a culture type situation.
Yeah.
And culture makes us feel like having therapy makes you weak.
No.
Or culture makes you feel like, oh, you're not mentally up to par. You're not mentally okay.
Yeah.
So you're sick. It's like, no, not necessarily. Hey, the beautiful part is knowing that when you go to an AA meeting, not that I have been to one, but for those who have, and there's no judgment, but the first step to recovery is admitting that there's a problem in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we address our unhealed trauma?
Yeah.
Because if you in the event that you connect with somebody and you have that, it's gonna come up
at some point. It's gonna come up. It's gonna come out. It's gonna be. It has the potential to cause so much chaos.
Right.
If not handled well.
Right.
Because while you're projecting these issues on me, it's really internally you.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm like, I don't know. I'm not a therapist.
Right.
So here I am as the man, sometimes trying to fix and repair and trying to readjust and
because that's what we do. Like as men, we in most cases, not everybody, but in most cases, we're fixers.
Yeah.
And that can be a problem sometimes. That's why I like the book Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. Mm-hmm. I tell anybody, if you can, that's a great read.
Yeah.
Read it. Because what it says is this: men and women are different on purpose. And it's okay.
Valid.
Like our communication is different. So let's just say, what's going on, Araceli? Let's say that, a woman comes home from work, and we're going to do two different scenarios. Let's start with the man. Man come home from work, and, something went down, and, it's like, man, A, B, and C happened. I'm this and that, I'm talking about it, I'm stressed, man. And, man, my supervisor, man, came up on some kind of stuff, man, and I was doing this and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
For the most part, the woman can be like, oh, okay. If she come and she give us some nuggets, we're like, okay, that makes sense. Like, or have you thought about this, and this? That's a good, blah, blah, blah. Right. And that could be like, that's
good enough.
Right? When, like in some cases, they were saying women can come and they can tell you, I was at work, and then we want to fit. So in our head, we trying to think of like, our way of how do we fix it. And so we like, babe, what if we do A, B, and C, and then we wonder, and then all of a sudden the demeanor changed. We wonder why they like, I'm just trying to help you out. Thing is that they didn't ask you for that, and a lot of times they just want to get it off of their chest. They just want to talk about it, and so sometimes we get caught up in being Mr. Fix It.
Yeah, naturally so.
It's a natural. But again, so that kind of goes back to the first thing is communication.
Yep.
Like, hey, I'm really a fixer. I mean, I feel like, however, let's have the conversation of how do you feel about that?
Yeah.
Like or just make sure if it's one of those things where, hey, I'm not really looking for an answer. I pretty much got together. I just want my husband. I want to be able to talk to my husband about it, or my best significant other about
it. You might want a precursor with that. But I don't need you to even answer. Just let me. I just want to get this off my chest.
All right. Just let me know. Again, because that's what it's about. It's about communication.
Yeah.
Because if you just want to just spit, if I'm just going to be the ear, so I can prepare myself to do that. Because guess what? I don't want to have to go through all of the mental capacity, using my mental capacity to try to find an answer if that's not what you're looking for.
No, that's real. That's real.
So I think even with that, let's say, unhealed trauma and communication, it still kind of goes hand in hand.
They do.
Because you still have to kind of communicate that with, you know what I'm saying? What is that?
Tashika Payton said, listening is okay. She said that's good.
Yeah. So, and I think it's just important, you know what I'm saying, when it comes down to just that level of communication. Now you can't get into, you have to understand that every soul is a different soul.
Absolutely.
Everybody is different, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And you can't get into a relationship with these expectations of what you've been through before. If you had unhealed trauma from another relationship, if you had unhealed trauma maybe from family, it's a root of a thing.
Well, and it was important too that sometimes we go through trauma, then we go through a single period, and we believe that we're good. We believe that we're okay until you start talking to somebody and get into it. But you have to be able to communicate when you realize, oh, there's a trigger. Hey,
right,
let's have a conversation, because what happens is you're trying to suppress it and hide it, whether it be either party.
Right.
And then we're trying to figure out what's going on, what's happening. I did something wrong. You done ghosted me, you done fell back, and we like, what happened?
Right.
Like, what went down? And reality is that you were triggered, so therefore you fell back. But I didn't. Excuse me. But you didn't tell me.
Right.
I don't know. Something that keep that, and that goes back to being triggered communication. But some things here you don't know. One thing that I found to be current is like some people don't know they got father issues until, oh, wait a minute. That's what this is.
Right.
I thought this was something else the entire time.
Right.
That's a willingness to discover, even personally, that I encourage to happen too. So
no, that's a real thing. And I mean, I'm talking about it can go back. I'm talking about to childhood.
Yes. Like,
listen, some traumatic experiences that you may experience as a child in spaces where you were very vulnerable.
Absolutely.
As a child, emotionally, in spaces where in your sponge stage of life, when you're a kid and you're soaking up things, there are bad habits that maybe your parents or people that are around you in the community that you may have kind of sucked in that you didn't even know.
Wasn't even aware.
Didn't have a clue. And
I tell people that sometimes, like, some trauma, it didn't mean to be trauma. Sometimes it didn't mean to be traumatic.
Right.
But just as a kid, you seen it. Like right now, my son he's must be too, but he's impressionable.
Right.
He's repeating stuff. I was just, oh man, it's funny for now, but at the same time, but that him in the wrong environment, can impress upon him some stuff, and at 2, 3, 4, he ain't stunting it. But 14, 15, 16, said, wait, I remember this happened, and then that was that, and these things matter. So,
and that's another thing. Let's talk about. Hey, Auntie, what's going on, John? I see you too as well. Let me make sure.
Say neither person is a mind reader. Discussions need to be had.
Absolute. That's a absolute fact. I appreciate you for saying that, because a lot of people don't follow that type of guideline. They feel like you should just know.
No.
Oh, Jesus. Just a quickening.
Because I'm married now, but in the dating game, in that process, there's so many rules and expectations and regulations and these things, and you just assume I know. I'm trying to gather data to figure things out, and the more that you hold back and trying to be high and trying to be slick and play these games, you are hurting yourself more than you hurt me, because I don't have time. And the older you get, I don't have time to be playing these. If I want to call you, can I call you? What's up? If you're in my mind, you're in my mind.
Right.
And not playing I expect you to. You don't know my account.
Right.
Let me help y'all real. You don't know my mother.
Right.
You don't know my father. You don't know what they taught me. You don't know. I'm gonna just be this person for today.
Come on, please.
You don't know if I came out playing, being Mag Daddy. I done changed my life around, so now I'm on a whole different pathway. But you ain't had no conversation with me. But you just assuming that you don't know I'm liable to hurt your heart, break you. But I'm on a whole other pathway right now but you ain't giving me. You're not giving me the exchange that I feel is required because you want to play games, and that is just something that is just you got to cut it out.
At the end of the day, nobody is especially with the older you get. My God, the reindeer games has to cease. Rudolph, listen. And again, that goes along with communication. That's why communication is so heavy, because it deals on so many levels. How are we building?
Right.
What is our next step? What is our goal, short and long term, as a relationship? What are we going to teach our kids? What is our game plan? What is the plan for our children's future? How are we going to move? How do we impact others?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How do we be a light? Let me tell you something. It's a woman that's on here right now by the name of Ramona Davis. Right?
Right.
I'm going to keep it a buck with you. I told her, and I'm telling everybody while we on here, listen, her and Uncle Kevin, I watched them, like, when it came down to what's going on, Teresa, Nisi, I watched them like hawks, because true story is, I was like, they've been together for well over 30 some odd years.
Yeah.
But when you see them, they still like each other. You can tell that you already know that love is already the foundation of who they are. But they still, and she'll keep it a buck with you. Like, she's like, yo, relationship ain't nothing perfect all the time. What's going on, Uncle Rick? Ain't nothing perfect all the time. And yeah, we get on each other's nerves. You know, we have these kind of conversations or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's about how we handle each other. And I'm sitting up here like, what's going on, Unica? I'm sitting up here like, this is gems to me.
Yeah.
Because it's like, how do you handle a person even when I disagree with you?
Right.
Even if we're going through, even if we have a mild beef that we got going on. Thank you, dear. I appreciate it. And thanks again for that blessed.
That's good. And not threatening to leave just because we don't agree to
that. Right. And not withholding.
Yeah. Come on. Welcome to the phones. And I'll say it like this, because that's a key factor in how we express who we are to you, how we feel for you.
Yes.
So when you take away my expression,
the most intimate expression of who I am to you,
valid,
then you're not stripping nothing from me. You're stripping something from the whole relationship, period.
Right.
And so it's going to affect you as well.
Absolutely.
And so these are like, I think this is going to definitely be a sequel in a bit. So when it comes down, so we talked about communication. We've talked about unhealed trauma.
Yeah.
I think that, like I said, that unhealed trauma, and trauma comes in so many different shapes, colors, and forms, that if you don't understand and if you don't recognize what it is,
yes,
you have to be able to. That's why you have to go to a root of a thing. You have to find out. You have to go back into your history to find out who I am. You know, what makes me tick. That thing that what tugs at my heartstrings.
Yeah.
What is it that, because the person you want to give, let me put it this way. You want to give the person that you love and the person that you choose, you want to give them the cheat code to how to fulfill you, how to satisfy you in a whole, holistically.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not just sexual. I'm talking about mental stimulation. I'm talking about emotional stimulation. I'm talking about the like affirming and that a natural validation of just being around you.
Absolutely.
You know, you don't have to affirm for me words every day to validate who I am in your life. You know,
it's your vibe, your energy,
the vibe,
present, you being present all the time. I'm satisfied just because you're present. And we in a good space. What's up? We cool.
Right, yeah. And in many cases, I'll say that with men, because we're simple. I think we're very simple creatures when it comes down to oh, you about to leave?
Oh, here she goes. What if the sex was never on the table?
Oh my God.
Oh, she got questions. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, let's get answers.
She says, "Can you express? Can your expression happen differently? And what if sex was never on the table?"
But was that a part of communication?
Right.
Because true story is that I believe we're ocular creatures.
Mm-hmm.
We see a thing first.
Yeah.
We don't walk past somebody like, oh, I felt the spirit of this person. I mean, unless you special like that.
Yeah.
Usually it's I see a person that I'm attracted to. Oh wow, it's a visual stimulation, a connection, and then you kind of catch the vibe.
Right.
You see,
and I think too, and just gotta know the details a little bit. Even as a believer, that affection, which may not necessarily mean that we've engaged in sexual activity, but that touch, that holding hands, that being there,
right?
But now this is real. If you are not that kind of touchy person, okay, I'm letting you know that to touch me fulfills me. You better lay hands. No,
you got to find out. You're right. So once if you express some stuff and like, okay, well, this is how I am.
Yeah.
That's when I go back to my 3, my non-negotiables, my giveaways, and my healthy compromises. So if it's like, hey, so let's say, to go back to your question, let's say sex was never on the table and you're a very intimate sexual type of being and this person is completely not. If one, and they're expressing that to you, I always say this, there's a thing, capacity.
Mm-hmm.
I brought that up a few times. If I'm a pint capacity and she's a gallon capacity, and all I have is a pint, I'm either I'm like, yo, this is my pint, period, or I'm gonna say, I may only be able to give back to you in pint capacity, but I'm going to invest in the reservoir around me
to be able to dip into.
So whenever you overflow me, it's not going to waste. It's going into the reservoir. Just know that you're only going to get back at a time pint capacity. So I'm gonna dip into what you.
Dante's preaching with demonstration. I want y'all to know that. If y'all don't, I know that if you're on the app, you don't see this, but online, I seen the message. I see him in the pulpit, pint capacity. That was good.
You get what I'm saying? Because what happened is it all depends on what level of investment that you're willing to make.
Yeah, for sure.
So if I'm just keeping my pint, you're gonna have to accept this just who I am. Now, when you hear this is just who I am, you better run.
Yeah.
You better run, because at that point, they don't expect nothing else.
Yeah.
Because if they told you right off the rip, but if it's like, you know what, this is all I knew coming up. And so here's the thing, I want us to work, and I'm willing to do whatever needs to be done to make that happen.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna invest. Let me find out what a gallon capacity looks like so I can set it up. So when you pour into me, and even when it overflows and I'm not able to receive it all at once to be able to give it back in a gallon capacity, I have my reservoir around me full of your deposit.
Yes.
So I'm able to go back into that
and pour, and I can pour here. Let me pour here today. Got you.
And there's the expectation. So watch this. But I told you I only have pint capacity, maybe as per what I grew up around.
Yeah.
So I only grew up around this. This is all I really know. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to build. I'm trying to expand. But right now I'm only at this. But I can give you back what you gave me. But it just give me, watch this. Have a little. I need you to have some patience.
Yeah.
So once I pour back, I have to refill back up from what you gave me. So just know that what you deposit will not go to waste. I will always be able to.
Yeah.
I think it's almost time to.
Yeah. It's time to get about here.
So listen here. I think we're going to continue this because I think it's a conversation that needs to be had, especially in the community when it comes down to relationships, because relationships are super important.
Yeah.
And for us to be able to have healthy ones, I think we'll treat each other better.
Yeah.
I think we'll begin to care a little bit more about everything. Now, and I, I always kind of slip this in when it comes down to like the political aspect too. We begin to care more if we're thinking of each other as a whole unit. And so, and when we were just talking about like the intimate, man, woman, however, get into it, but we're talking about that style of relationship today, but there are so many other different types of relationships that I want to tap into, because there's your business relationships that you have, there is your just interpersonal relationship, there's your work relationships that you have, different types of relationships that you have to kind of set those boundaries in those relationships. So those are different ones. Before we chime out and before we roll out, what's going on, Ulysses? Just want to let y'all know, I want to put this plug in really quick. Tomorrow and Saturday, your boy I'm gonna have actually I'll be talking about life insurance, whole life insurance. It's a session that I'm gonna have. It's a Zoom session. You guys go on my page, and if you can find that, share it, please. And share it again, and then share it one more time. Basically, I'm going to be speaking on really the importance of it, and showing you, pretty much giving you an education on what different life, because I've had a few people hit me up in my face. What's going on, Ange? You're Vegas bound. So just really to just give people the education and allow people the opportunity to make sure we cover it, so we don't have to do any more GoFundMe's and pass the basket and buckets and stuff like that when our family members pass away. I'll be going into like really more detail, because I had people hit me up, and I mean many saying, well, what if you got it through your job? It's a situation with group coverage. That's what it's called. And it's people who are, and I'm not going to go into it now. That's going to be a part of, because I got to save it for the tape. That's what I used to say. They say back in the day, save it for the tape. So it's going to be Friday at, I want to say 6 or 6:30. It's on the flyer on my page, and it's going to be Saturday at 9 a.m. There's all the Zoom link is in there, and also you can actually call in as well. Super cool. I'm gonna keep it brief. I'm not gonna have y'all all day. I ain't the preacher that's gonna be like, and I'm about to close. No, I'm really, it's gonna be a nice brief situation, unless you have like a lot of questions. If you have questions, that's what I'm going to be there too, to answer questions in regards to it. But I'm gonna just be showing you the difference between the different insurance, because a lot of people have things twisted, and then all of a sudden you get older, and then something pops off, and then you don't have what you thought you had. So with that being said, please go to Fire 716 Radio, download the app, like it, subscribe, share it. You know what I mean? We have good content on here. I try to keep it, a mixture. The first few ones I did have, it was real heavy, political. But, we got a whole, this election year, y'all gonna have enough of that this whole year. Worry not. Dante wants to actually get into some nice, thicker subject matter. So thank you guys for tuning in today. You got your boy D Belly, Dante, aka Tank, aka your city councilman, and we here with my man Big Frank. Yeah. So listen, next Thursday at 11, we're gonna be back here. Tune in, share this. I'm gonna go into part 2 of this. I might even have a guest, and it just depends on how we rock it out. At the end of the day, that's how we do. So I will definitely keep you guys posted. Love you guys. Y'all keep safe. Stay safe out here in these streets. You know what I mean? Buckle up. The weather is really weird. So keep it together. Love everybody. Show love. Peace out. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy Donta Myles, a.k.a. D-Belly, a.k.a. your city councilman. I'm here at Fire 716 Radio. And I'm asking you